The Senate elections are just as important as the presidential elections. Today, we are going to review with you the shocking results of the latest polls in a short and concise way. By the end of this video, you will understand everything very clearly. Let's get started. Let's go state by state and fill in the Senate map based on recent polling data and other key factors that are likely to shape the results of the 2024 Senate races. Let's start out west, where we already have a few solid predictions. First, we have Hawaii. The Aloha State has long been a Democratic stronghold, and Senator Mazie Hirono is seeking her third term in office. With no major opposition and no recent polling data suggesting a challenge, we can safely mark Hawaii solid blue. Next up is Washington, where incumbent Maria Cantwell is running for her fifth term. According to the latest poll from Public Policy Polling, she's leading her Republican opponent by 23 points. With a lead that large, it's safe to say Washington remains solid blue. Moving down the coast, we get to California. As one of the biggest and most politically significant states, all eyes are on this race. Adam Schiff, the likely Democratic candidate, is up against former LA Dodger Steve Garvey. But with polls consistently showing Schiff ahead by around 31 points, California is expected to stay firmly in the Democratic camp. Now, before we move on to our next state, we want you to write in the comments whether you support Republicans or Democrats so that we can see which party the viewers of this video support more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our video to support our channel, where we examine the latest Senate poll results. Continue with Nevada. Nevada's race is heating up as well. Incumbent Democrat Jackie Rosen is running for her second term after narrowly defeating her Republican opponent in 2018. She's facing off against military veteran Sam Brown, and the latest polls show Rosen leading by just 5 points. This puts Nevada in the lean Democrat column, but it's definitely a state to watch closely. Up in Montana, we have one of the most competitive races of the 2024 cycle. Democrat John Tester is fighting for a fourth term in a state that Trump won by 16 points in 2020. His challenger, Republican Tim Sheehy, is currently ahead by 5 points in the latest poll, making Montana a lean Republican state. This will be one of the most closely watched races in the country. In Wyoming, it's a much less competitive race. Senator John Barrasso is running for re-election, and with Wyoming being one of the most Republican states in the country, we can confidently place Wyoming in the solid red column. Over in Utah, Senator Mitt Romney isn't seeking re-election, but the Republican candidate, likely John Curtis, is expected to win easily. Utah has been a safe Republican state for decades, so it's no surprise that we're putting this one in the solid red category. Arizona is another battleground state where things could get interesting. With Senator Kyrsten Sinema stepping aside, this race comes down to Democrat Ruben Gallego and Republican Kari Lake. According to the latest poll from Emerson College, Gallego has a slim 4-point lead. For now, we're calling Arizona lean Democrat, but this could shift as the race progresses. Next, we have New Mexico, where Democratic Senator Martin Heinrich is running for a third term. His Republican opponent, Nella Dominuzzi, is making the race competitive, with Heinrich leading by just 4 points in the most recent poll. We're marking New Mexico as lean Democrat for now, but it's another race worth keeping an eye on. In Texas, Senator Ted Cruz is running for a third term. Cruz is ahead of his Democratic challenger Colin Allred by 8 points in the latest polls. While Texas has seen closer races in recent years, this time it seems Cruz has a comfortable lead, so we're placing Texas in the likely Republican column. Moving to the South, Mississippi and Tennessee are both solidly Republican. Senator Roger Wicker in Mississippi and Senator Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee are both running for re-election. Blackburn is ahead by 21 points, and while there's no recent polling in Mississippi, the state's strong Republican history makes it safe to place both states in the solid red category. In Florida, Senator Rick Scott is running for re-election in a state that has shifted to the right in recent years. The latest poll from the University of North Florida shows Scott with a 4-point lead over his Democratic challenger. While it's closer than expected, Florida goes into the lean Republican category for now. In Virginia, Senator Tim Kaine is running for a third term. He's ahead by 10 points in the latest polls, so Virginia remains in the likely Democrat column. West Virginia is another state that's expected to flip. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin isn't running for re-election, and the Republican nominee, Jim Justice, is leading by a massive 33 points. West Virginia is solidly in the red this cycle. Heading to the Midwest, North Dakota and Nebraska are both expected to stay firmly Republican. In North Dakota, Senator Kevin Cramer is leading by 37 points. In Nebraska, there are 2 Senate races this year, and both are likely to stay Republican. With Deb Fischer leading by 26 points in her race, we can safely call both Nebraska contests solid red. In Missouri, Senator Josh Hawley is up for re-election. He's leading by 9 points in the latest poll, so we're calling Missouri likely Republican. Next, we have Minnesota, where Senator Amy Klobuchar is running for her 4th term. Klobuchar is expected to win easily, with polls showing her ahead by over 20 points. Minnesota remains solid blue. Moving into the Rust Belt, Wisconsin's Senate race is looking competitive. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin is running for re-election, and while she won comfortably in 2018, the latest polls show her leading by 11 points. Wisconsin goes into the likely Democrat category. Over in Michigan, Senator Debbie Stabenow is retiring, and her likely replacement, Democrat Alyssa Slotkin, is leading by 5 points against Republican Mike Rogers. We're placing Michigan in the lean Democrat column. In Ohio, Senator Sherrod Brown is facing a tough re-election race. The latest poll shows him leading by just 4 points, so we're marking Ohio as lean Democrat for now. In neighboring Indiana, Republican Jim Banks is expected to win the seat vacated by Senator Mike Braun, with polls showing Banks leading by 10 points. Indiana goes into the likely Republican category. In Pennsylvania, incumbent Senator Bob Casey Jr. is running for re-election. He's ahead by 5 points in the most recent poll, so Pennsylvania goes into the lean Democrat category. The reliably Democratic states of Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey are next. In Maryland, Ben Cardin's retirement has made the race a little more interesting, but polls show the Democratic candidate, Angela Alsobrooks, with an 8-point lead. Delaware doesn't have any significant polling, but it's a safe bet to remain solid blue. Over in New Jersey, Senator Bob Menendez's legal troubles have made headlines, but Democratic Representative Andy Kim is expected to win the seat, leading by 7 points in recent polls. We're placing New Jersey in the likely Democrat column. In New York, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is running for her 3rd term. Despite a lack of recent polling, New York hasn't elected a Republican senator since the 1990s, so we're calling it solid blue. In neighboring Vermont, Senator Bernie Sanders is running again as an independent who caucuses with the Democrats. With no strong opposition, Vermont remains solid blue. In Massachusetts, Senator Elizabeth Warren is running for re-election, and she's ahead by over 20 points in the latest polls. Massachusetts is solid blue. The same goes for Rhode Island and Connecticut, where Democratic Senators Sheldon Whitehouse and Chris Murphy are running for re-election without much opposition. Both states are solid blue. Finally, we head to Maine, where independent Senator Angus King is running for another term. Like Bernie Sanders, King caucuses with the Democrats, and with a 29-point lead in the latest poll, we're marking Maine as solid blue. The map reveals the final tally. Republicans narrowly securing a majority with 51 seats to the Democrats' 49. And there you have it. The Republicans hold a slim majority in the Senate, but with so many close races, this could change dramatically by Election Day. What do you think? Could any of these states flip? Let us know in the comments, and be sure to stay tuned for more updates as the race heats up.